This is Bharat FM.
बजेगा भारत, झूमेगा भारत. बजेगा भारत, झूमेगा भारत.
This is Bharat FM.
Namaste everyone to Bharat FM, YogaLeher GeetaMehek, every Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. We will actually, from the following weekend, we might be changing the time and we will update it. It should be on Saturday from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So let's start today. It has hopefully you guys had a good day today. And if you are exhausted, tired, let's do a session of yoga, and then we'll do the Bhagavad Gita. We will try to make the session a little bit shorter today. So we will finish so we'll do the yoga session for 45 minutes. So let's begin. Okay, well, let's start today in lying down pose. So it's been a long day for all of us, so we are going to do a little relaxing yoga for ourselves today and learn how to rejuvenate yourself at the end of the day. I'm going to see if I need to bring myself a bit closer maybe. And okay, so let's go lay down on your mat. You can keep your legs straight, flat on there, or you can bend your knees and keep your sole of your feet on the mat. Whatever feels more comfortable. Bring your arms to the side. And let's ground ourselves for a couple of minutes. Let's take some deep breaths in through your nose and out through your nose. Once more, let's breathe in through our nose and out through your nose. Just allow yourself to sink into the mat. Let all your tensions leave you, and just for the next 45 minutes, let's make sure we keep our attention onto the mat. Just take normal breaths now, in through your nose and out through your nose. And then gently start rocking side to side. Keeping your feet flat on the mat, your knees bend. Let's rock side to side a little bit. You don't need to go too far, just gentle side to side. Let's try to see if we can make it a little, without letting it fall, let's go a little bit deeper and then bring it back to the middle. Use your core. Let's go to the right side, bring it back to the middle. Again, let's do it on the other side, but not touch the floor, and bring it to the middle. On the right, and then bring it to the middle. When you're up in the middle, let's take a deep inhale. And let's drop your knees to the left. Just flop it down. You can take your arms to the side. You can turn your head, if available, to the right side. Sometimes it is also helpful to take your arms overhead and relax. With your next inhale, bring your knees to the middle, and with an exhale, let's drop it to the right. I like to keep my arms sometimes overhead because it creates more stretch on my sides. Take a couple deep breaths here. With your next inhale, let's bring it to the middle. And then let's extend our legs straight out. Take a deep inhale, interlace your fingers, turn your palm the other way around. Big stretch as if you're waking up. Big, 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 big. And then exhale and bring your knees into the chest. Rock side to side, Pavan Muktasan. So this is great for your vata. It is great for bloating. It's great for any kind of problems in your belly. Take an inhale and drop your knees to the left. A little semen. While dropping to the left, you can take a couple inhales in and out through your nose. Extend your right arm to the right side, turn your face to the right, look towards your right fingers, and create a stretch in your lower back. And while you're here, this palm that's facing upward, now let's face it down towards the thumb. So we're turning it around. You're causing a rotation in your shoulder. And then let's bring it back, facing upwards, and then let's turn towards the pinky finger, let's turn it down. You will feel a stretch into your biceps, the inside of your arms. With your next inhale, let's come back to the middle. With an exhale, let's drop it to the right. Extend your left arm to the left side. And if available, look towards your left arm. You can hold your left knee with your right hand. You can even take it across if you would like to get a bigger stretch. And again, turn your palm one way. Is getting your palm to look at the floor. Bring it back with the palm upwards, and then towards the pinky finger, just turn it around. We have some people waiting in the yoga studio, so there are 2 people that are waiting. I will admit them. Okay. Okay. So from this position, let's come back to the middle. Hug your knees again into the chest. And then let's straighten the left leg straight out. Keep holding your right knee to your chest. Big inhale and exhale. Once more. Big inhale and exhale. Let's inhale one more time. And with an exhale, let's take the right knee all the way to the left. So now extend your right arm to the right side. It may not touch the floor, that's okay. If it touches, that's fine. As we said in yoga asana, you want to make 50% of the effort. So if it seems like if I'm stretching and that's too much, let's bring it back. Create, comfort. Sthira Sukha Asana. So it has to be steady and it has to be comfortable. Now let's make big circles with your arm. Really big, 3 big circles in one direction. And then let's do 3 big circles in the other direction. So get this shoulder joint. Otherwise, how many times in a day do you actually make big rotations on your shoulder? And do you know how many, as we get older, how many people have frozen shoulder, problems with shoulder? All it takes is doing a few of these every day. Inhale and come back to the middle. Extend your right leg straight out. Bring your left knee in. Give it a big hug. Let's do a couple breaths in here, in through your nose and out through your nose. And now with the next inhale, big inhale, exhale, and let's drop it to the right. The left knee to the right, extend your left arm straight out. No need to touch the floor, just creating a stretch on your left chest area and the shoulder. So the tightness in the shoulder. And let's now do big 3 circles in one direction. And then let's do it in the opposite direction. Big 3 circles, lubricate your shoulder joint. So the idea is to lubricate them once a day. So whatever you're learning today, it becomes of much, much greater benefit if you do it, even for like 30 minutes every day. Inhale, come back to the middle. Let's take let's keep the left foot on the mat. Right leg, let's bend the knee and place the right ankle on the left thigh. Take a big inhale. Exhale, and let's do thread the needle. So let's raise the left foot off the mat, hold behind the left thigh, if available. If this is hard, if you can't, now while you're holding behind the left thigh, make sure your neck is not extending like this. This is your overstretching. It's actually harming you. So take your leg back if that's happening. But basically the neck has to be completely flat. You can also, if that behind the left thigh is not available, you can hold the right foot and the right knee and just keep it against there, and you can create that stretch. Same stretch I can create just by holding this. You have been sitting all day, or your glutes and your all these muscle hamstring get tight, so we can loosen them up. Plant your left foot back on the mat. Straighten your right leg up toward the ceiling. Show your sole of the feet to the ceiling. Hold behind the right thigh. But let's flex the foot as much as we can. Don't interlock the knee. It's very important in yoga not to interlock the knee. But create that flex there. And now let's point our toes to the ceiling. And now let's take the toes to the left side. Now let's make some ankle rotations. How many times a day do you actually spend time to do ankle rotation? We need to lubricate this joint too. And with that, let's plant the right foot on the mat. Let's lift the left ankle and place it on the right thigh. Raise the right foot off the mat, thread the needle, hold behind the right thigh. Or you can hold the left foot and to back of the left knee, and I can just create the same stretch. Actually, this is feeling so good right now. So much more stretch than this. So sometimes, some days, one may feel better than the other. So try both. Keep your chin tucked in so you're not hyperextending your neck. Keep both the ankles flexed. Let's plant the right foot on the mat. Let's raise the left leg straight up. Hold behind the left thigh. Flex the left foot ankle as much as you can. Don't interlock the left knee. You will feel the stretch in your calves. And now let's point the fingers towards the ceiling. Point, point, point. Create that little, the front of the shin. Shin needs, has muscles and needs stretching too. And let's now point the toes towards the right. So now you're causing more stretch on the shin. Let's plant both the feet back. Let's do some bridge pose. Let's bring the toes in towards your hips, hip distance apart. See if your fingertips can touch your heels. So we're just bringing the heels in, not the toes, the heels in. Okay. So don't try to grab it because then it creates, I feel the ankle doesn't stay on the, ankle needs to be behind, the knee needs to be behind the ankle. So just have it where your fingertips are touching the heel. Take an inhale and tuck the tailbone in. So I'm flattening the back, tucking the tailbone in. Exhale, lift your butt off the mat. Keeping both your knees same distance, hip distance apart. You can interlace your fingers underneath. You can even take your shoulders a little bit underneath to give yourself that higher raise. Make sure you're keeping the knees hip distance apart. They're not going wide. You can even come up on tippy toes here. Let's plant it down one vertebra at a time. Let's plant your back on the mat. Let's bring the knees in and let's do a counter stretch. It's very important in yogasana. If you're doing one pose, you have to do a counter pose, especially for the back. Okay, so now we are going to actually turn around and come up on our tummies. And here, the first thing we are going to do is a plank pose. So you're going to plant your elbows on the mat, hip distance apart, and you can interlace the fingers or you can keep them flat, whatever feels comfortable to you. Curl your toes and let's go into a plank pose. So a plank a day keeps your belly, your core strong. Let's go down on the mat. And let's place a right shin on the mat. Or you can put it on your hands. Just a little bit breather here. Now let's come back to the middle. Take your hands to the thighs and let's put it underneath the thighs, both the hands. Let's have a chin on the mat. Or you can do the forehead too if that feels more comfortable to you. Take an inhale and raise both the legs off the mat. So I can do it this way, I can do it this way, whatever feels. So we're creating some strength in the back. Plant it back. Now let's take your hands off and let's take your hands in the front. And we're going to do alternate arm and alternate leg. So take an inhale, raise the right arm and the left leg off the mat. Somebody's taking. And then you can do the same, repeat the same on the other side. Come back to the middle. Somebody's asking me for the code in the middle of the session. And So sorry about that. Let's bring our hands to the side of the mat, and actually let's actually do the cobra pose. Let's take our hands all the way to our shoulder level. A little bit, a little bit underneath the shoulder, a little bit even further down if you feel like taking it. Get your elbows tucked in. Keep your feet together if you want to, or they can be a little bit wider apart, whatever feels comfortable. And you will inhale and lift your chest off the mat. And you can be right here, lower down. If you want, you can come up a little bit more. Exhale, and let's go down. This time you can bring the hands down a little bit more. And this time let's inhale, come up again, and see if you can come up a little bit more. So you're straightening your hands a little bit, creating a little bit more opening for your spine from the front, basically. Exhale, and let's go down. Let's do one more, and then we'll be done. Let's take both the hands in the front, take the feet in the back, and this time we will take arms and legs, all will be raised at the same time. So inhale, and let's together. They can do, feet can be a little wider apart. Exhale, and let's go down. Let's go into child pose. We have done quite a bit of stretches for the lower back. Let's stay in the child pose. Just silence my. Let's walk our hands to the right of the mat. Let's create that stretch. When you do the plank, it does, use a lot of arm strength, so we want to make sure we are stretching it out. People who do plank but then don't stretch it out over time, they will start having injuries. So we want to make sure that we are stretching it out. Let's walk our hands to the left now. And then let's come back in the middle. Let's extend our right arms. While we're here, you can extend the right arm. So I like to just be here. So I'm not fully here, I'm just down there. Inhale, take the left arm over. And then let's slide the left hand underneath. I think I might have to take off this thing here. So slide it underneath. This is your scapular region you're stretching. So now you're right now, you are at 90 degrees, your butts are up the floor. Now while your hand is right there, let's go back into child pose. So your arm is right, still in that pose, it's thread the needle, but now you've gone into child pose. So feel how differently it stretches the upper back. Unthread the needle and bring your arms to its position, like right here, like a cat-cow. Now let's try the same thing on the other side. So let's extend the right hand forward. Let's go down. Inhale, raise the right arm up overhead. Feel the stretch in the left armpit. Exhale, and let's thread the needle.
You can stay here. You can even straighten your left leg, create more stretch. It's up to you, but don't overdo it. And now let's sit down in the child pose with the same stretch. So feel how different area of your shoulder, upper back, this will stretch. So there are two variations of this threading the needle. And you can do some days one, some days another, or both on the same day. It's up to you. Let's unthread and let's come back, come on all fours. Let's extend the left leg straight. Now, as the left leg is straight, curls are towed in. Let's take the heel back. So feel the stretch in your left calf. Come off it, bring it forward, and then let's do it again. One more stretch. Now, let's come back to the neutral. While the foot is there, toes curled in, we're going to raise the right arm off the floor. So you're going to raise the right arm and the left leg. So now this is also a core balancing. Don't drop into the left shoulder. Let's bring it down. Let's pivot the right foot to the side. So let's pivot it to the right side. So now we're in this position. And let's extend the left arm straight up. So you're creating a side stretch. I better tie my hair. Now, big inhale, open it up. Exhale, let's close it. And see if you can bring your left hand down. So creating that stretch in your mid back and upper back. Now let's release, come back to the middle. Let's do it on the other side. We're going to straighten the right leg, rock it right in front. Try to take the heel as much back as possible. Come back to the middle. And now we are going to raise the left arm and the right leg. I'm going to tie my hair, the left arm and the right leg. So these are not just balancing poses, they are very much balancing. They are also strength building, and they are also core building. Come back. Let's keep the right leg straight. Pivot the left foot out. Big inhale, and let's extend the right arm overhead, creating that stretch. Big inhale, open yourself up. Exhale, let's see if we can bring the fingertips down towards the mat, the right fingertip, and create a stretch. Release yourself. Come back to the curl your toes. And let's sit down on our curled toes. So now this is for the plantar fascia. So the fascia which is here, people start having this pain under the feet. While sitting here, let's do 3 neck rotations. So inhale, exhale, bring the chin to the chest. Inhale, half circle on the clockwise. Exhale, complete the circle. Let's do 2 more on clockwise. And then let's, once you're done with that, you will do anti-clockwise 3 times. While sitting, they're doing 2 exercises at one time. So that's doing the opposite side. And then uncurl your toes, sit in Vajrasana. And before we sit down in Vajrasana, let's lift the knees off the mat. So you're doing a counter stretch. You just did that side, and you do this one. Okay. With that, now let's sit in Vajrasana. So after every meal, it's a good idea. We even talked about it in one of our sessions with Dr. Deepak Acharya on Sunday, Sehat, Baatein Nahi Purani. But Vajrasana, sitting in Vajrasana for at least 5 minutes after your meals is helps with the bloating, sense of bloating. This Vajrasana really helps with the lower bloating and diffuses the vata. So pacifies the vata. So let's sit in Vajrasana. So I usually just time it 5 minutes after the meal. With that, let's uncurl the toes, come into the sitting position. Let's take the legs straight forward. We are going to have a little bend in the knees so that you're not like struggling and going and curving your back. So sit up, tuck your butt inside so your back can be straighter. Bend your knee if that helps you to be straighter. You can inhale, arms overhead, exhale. Let's bend from your waist. So you're not creating, so if I can see myself, I can see that, I don't want to do this. I try to create as much straight back as possible. So basically I'm getting a stretch from the lower back. So you can, if you can reach the toe, you can hold there as a fulcrum, or you can hold the ankle. You can even have them hands on the mat on the side. Release and come up. Let's bend the right knee and bring the right foot to the inside of the right thigh. So we will do the further stretching in this way. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale. Let's again bend. Now again, I like to keep the knees, I don't want to lock the knees, so I keep it a little bent. Inhale, come on up. Let's do this. Let's take the legs to the side. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, let's do a side bend. So your left hand is going to touch the left toe, and your right arm is opening it up. So as much as possible, so you're not closed down, you're opening it up as much as you can. But making sure it's Sthira Sukha Asana, so you are comfortable and you're not doing more than 50%. So instead of saying, okay, I want to touch this, well, you can, but that's like too much. So let's do it right here. Now take a big inhale, open up, exhale. Let's bring the right hand down and let's close the sleeve. So now with both the hands, you're holding the left ankle. All that sitting that you did today and your back is all, back muscles don't like it. Your spine doesn't open up. Well, this will help. Inhale, come on up. Let's do the same thing on the right side. Let's tuck the right glutes in, and then let's curl the left knee, bring the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Inhale, and let's bend, hinge from the waist. So we're not trying to touch our forehead to the mat. We're just trying to bring a chest forward. Keep your knees more bent if that makes it more available. Whatever makes you do it right. Again, Sthira Sukha, don't try to push yourself. The idea is not overstretching the muscle will also make it want to bounce back and contract. So you don't get any benefit in trying to do that. And then let's take the legs to the side. Inhale, and let's do a side bend. The other problem with doing overstretching is you can make your joints hyperflexible. So now they go beyond the normal physiological range, and instead of benefiting, you're your joint becomes a little too loose. So it is not a good idea. If somebody is born with more flexibility, that's different, but you cannot want it like that. Inhale, open further up, exhale, let's close the loop. So if you start pushing yourself more than what your joint can do, you will end up with injuries. I have seen that, and it's no fun. What is the point of yoga if you end up with injuries? But it is so many people get injured because the ego comes in the way and they have to do the best so that they can feel good or they can show that they know they can do so much. Come on up. So that's a good stretch for the back. Let's take our left foot onto the right thigh. And then let's take the right foot, instead of putting it underneath, let's take the right foot in front of the left knee. So it's in the front of the left knee. So kind of open. And now inhale, arms overhead, exhale, let's bend down. So wherever you are, if this is where you can reach, just stay here. If this is where you can reach, just stay here, because that's the idea, is to stay wherever you are comfortably. The reason we do so many back stretches is because it does become, if you're sitting for 8 hours a day, in total, with all the breaks even, but you're sitting so much, the glutes are not used to it. You need to be walking a lot more. So because we're not, we need to stretch it out from every different angle. Let's release. Let's take do the same thing on the other side. You put your right foot on the left thigh and take the left foot in front of the right knee, so not underneath. And the reason we are making it short, of course, is because today we're going to start Gita earlier and end by 8:30. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, let's go down. Take a few deep breaths in here. This I feel is a great release for the back. We're going to do a fun one right now. It may not be for everyone, but it is something that those who want to try can try. So you take your, the left foot is on there. You can take the right foot. Right foot is on the left thigh. You take the left foot and put it on the right thigh. So now you're sitting in Padmasana. Now, once you're sitting there, you can, to build arm strength, how people do weights, well, you lift your own body weight. So when we say in yoga, how do you build strength? Well, you lift your own body. So you can put your hands over time. This is just, I'm showing you. I'm not an expert at it either. But you can, if you want to, use this exercise, even if you create a little bit, but it can be a great strength for our upper body. So you just put your hands on each side and then just go yourself off the mat. Let's plant yourself back, and we will do it on both ways. So the other foot goes, the left foot now goes first, the right foot goes second, and then you take your hands to the mat and then see if you can lift yourself up. And plant yourself back. So see how much strength. We're using a whole body strength better than you're doing the weights. It builds this, and it also builds the triceps. Okay, releasing that. Let's come back into all fours. We're going to do one more, and then we will, let's see, what is the time? Yeah. So let's come back on all fours. I'm going to do the low lunge. So we're going to raise the left foot off the mat, and you can pump it a few times. So, a few pumps there. It is a good one for the glutes. And then, with your next inhale, bring it forward into the low lunge. And you can stay right here in the low lunge, or you can come up and put both your hands on the right knee. Take an inhale and let's go deep into forward. So bring your pelvis forward. Exhale and let's go back. Inhale, bring it forward. Exhale, go back. Inhale, bring it forward. And exhale, go back. Let's go back here on all fours. No, not all fours, sorry, the low lunge. And then let's take a hip back, peel your toes, and let's do this. Stretch the back of your calves again, and your thighs again. Plant your toes back. Peel again. Plant your toes back. Come forward. Create that stretch one more time. And then let's go back on all fours. We'll repeat the same thing on the other side. So let's lift the left knee off the mat, 90 degrees here. Let's pump it a few times. And then let's thread the needle, bring it forward. So we are in a low lunge. You can come up if it's available. And then inhale, the right arm goes up. Exhale, it comes down. Inhale, the arm goes up. Exhale, it comes back. Inhale, arm goes up. Exhale, it comes back. Let's bring the arms down again. Create a little stretch there. And then let's sit back and peel the left toes off the mat. Let's plant the left toes onto the mat. And then let's peel it again. Let's plant it again. Let's come forward. And then let's take both the feet back into all fours. From here, let's go into child pose. And if it is available, you can, keeping your forehead on the mat, you can come up and curve your back, curve your back. And go down from there, into the mat. So child pose. Take a few deep breaths in and out through your nose. And then when it's available, let's sit back in Vajrasana. Bring your hands to the heart center. Close your eyes. Let's thank ourselves for bringing ourselves to the mat today. Rub your hands together and feel nice and create the heat in between, and let's cup your eyes. And with that, we bring our yogasana session to a close because we are going to start yoga a little early today.
Okay. Okay. Welcome everyone to GeetaMehek now. So I know we have, anybody has any questions from the last time? And if not, we will try to do, today we are going to do verse number 25 and 26. So, Kanti Didi or Surinder ji, anyone if you want to read it?
Yeah, I can go ahead actually.
Okay.
So 25, the unenlightened do things with attachment, wanting some results for themselves. An enlightened person does things with the same zeal, Arjun, but without attachment, and thus guides other on the path of selfless action. That is Karma Yoga. Just as an ordinary person performs action with selfishness, the enlightened one also does things but without selfishness. The only difference, the ordinary person does things for his or her own benefit. The enlightened one does things for others' benefit. The performance of actions for others is in no way inferior. In fact, Sri Krishna says the selfless person should even act a little more carefully and more efficiently than a selfish person. A yogi is acting for everybody's sake and should do a little better job. Sometimes the attitude is, since I'm not gaining much from this action, it's mainly for others. It doesn't matter how I do it. I'll just let it happen. Probably Sri Krishna knows this attitude is part of human nature. So he says, don't think that because you're acting selflessly, you can get away with something haphazard. In fact, you should do a better job. Who is a yogi? The one who performs actions skillfully and efficiently. Why? Your interest is to serve others. Since so many are going to be benefited by your action, you should do a better job. If an ordinary person doesn't do a good job, then only he or she loses. But if you don't do a good job, imagine how many people will lose.
Thank you, Surendraji. Yeah, this is a good verse because for a lot of people, the question is always in terms of how does, when you think that, oh, I'm trying to do things the good way and others are still being selfish, then I know sometimes Tanuja will ask that question. And so this verse and the next verse really delineates how to act in the world. So the words are sakta. Sakta means attached. Sakta karmapi avidvansaha. Avidvansa means the ignorant, the one who is avidvan. The way attached, yatha kurvanti bharata. Bharat, of course, is sun. Yatha means just as. So basically, yatha avidvansaha means just as an ignorant kurvanti acts, sakta karmapi mean attached duties, does duties with attachment. So just as an ignorant acts attached to the action. Then the second verse, there is a word tatha in there. Tatha, just like that, the vidwan, so the wise, kuryat should do asakta, unattached. So the same way as the ignorant is doing it with attachment, the action, the wise is doing the same action
unattached. Chikirshu lok sangraham. Chikirshu means desiring or wishing or wanting. Lok sangraha. For the sake of, if you are taking ordinary way, we can say for the welfare of the world, or you can say for sake of leading people on the right path. So basically, just like the ignorant is acting all attached, the wise should act without attachment. Then without attachment in where is the origination of thought? What is it? What is the intention for, what is behind? What is the motivation for them? Chikirshu lok sangraham, for getting the people, like sake of leading the people on the right path. So then the first question someone can ask, oh, you're calling me ignorant? What do you mean? I'm ignorant? I'm doing action, right? I'm doing great action. People are we judging people because they are ignorant? So what is Krishna meaning? And we have seen it, Vidvansa and Vidvansa, the difference, what he means is those who are in one way are attached to anybody whose success lies from whatever comes from the material world, anything that comes from outside you. If the success and happiness is going to come from outside you from some action, then you are an ignorant one, because you do not understand that the success, happiness is inside, and I only have to act from there. So when the ignorant, then how do we, if imagine we are at work, so are we going to say, okay, is this person, how do we distinguish? Or how do we, when we look around the room, you can see it, but you don't know how to, what is it? What you find is when the people are vidvansa, they're very motivated. Motivation is not they are very driven. You can have a very driven person, even though they're ignorant. Their motivation is coming from maybe name, maybe fame, maybe money, maybe some sort of a reward. Like people will work so hard during the week, just so planning all week for the weekend reward. So they're working the week for the reward. So it is not that the person is actually, in fact, sometimes the ignorant person may appear as if working with a lot of zeal and enthusiasm. And a wise may say, oh, I'm so unattached, it doesn't matter to me. What are company goals? I get it that company has goals, but I am not competitive. I don't. So that is not what Krishna is saying. Krishna is clear. The ignorant and the vidwan will do exactly the same action. So the ignorant, if you see naturally around you, what are they driven by? They're driven by some sort of a reward, whether it's name, fame, material, sense pleasures, something that they are getting to their ahankar or to the senses or to their body. Between these three, they roam around. They are not at all they're looking for something outside. So then it keeps them driven. They can get up every morning and work from morning till evening, and they're obsessed. Another quality that attached. What is it? They're obsessed. If you tell them anything, they're so attached to their action, they cannot do anything wrong. If you tell them, oh, they take it very personally. They're so motivated, but God, you can easily get to them because they're extremely attached. Now, the knowledge of this, though, for a wise, the vidwan, the knowledge is helpful, but the knowledge is helpful not to judge them. The other word I want to define is attached. Sakta. Sakta to what Krishna talked about in second chapter also. So sakta, the attachment is threefold always. If you think about yourself, your attachment is to three things. One is attachment to the action. I do very good, I am very good with numbers. I do my job really well. So you're attached to your action. So basically there are three parts, right? If I am doing an action, then one, I'm the doer. Second is what action I'm doing. And third is the result of the action. And an ignorant person is attached to all three. They are the doers. I am so great. I am better than others. I am doing all the action. That is one level of attachment.
My action is great. I am competitive, everything that I do is better. So I'm the doer of that. If anything good happens, I need the acknowledgement because I am doing it. And third is the result. So if the result does not come, if the promotion does not come in the time frame that they think it should come, they are going to be very disturbed because they were attached to the result. They were working for this whole 1 year just because they wanted to go to the better than their peers to the next level. So what happens? They won't, if they don't get it right away, the whole 1 year, they were not working for Lok Sangraha. They were seeming like very driven, but they were not doing it for anybody but themselves. So because they were doing it for the result, when the result didn't come exactly how they wanted, that person is going to be very disturbed. But what is a wise person? The wise person is one who is as much, if not more enthusiastically involved. But this definition that, oh, I'm so wise, that I'm so detached, that I'm just going to, become a sadhu and I'm going to now, sing songs in front of the temple, or I'm going to do meditation for hours. That is not a wise person. Wise person does work with so much, just like yatha and tatha. That is exactly how a wise person does. Wise person does, if not same, if not more enthusiasm. If not, but the wise person is not obsessed. The wise person is engaged. The wise person is not attached. They are doing completely asaktaha. They're not attached to the doership. So you cannot, if you tell a wise person, you are so great, the wise person won't take it personally. Like, yeah, thank you. And leave it there. They know they're, because they are on the platform, they are know I am not just the doer. They're not attached to the action. So what are the advantages when a wise person is like that? What are some of the advantages when I was thinking about it? So if you are not attached to the doership, then what happens? Oh, I can't move on. If I'm not attached to the doership, what does it do for us? Really, I was thinking about it, and the first thing that does for you, if you're not the doer, is makes you very humble. Because you know there is something, you are not the driver. If you were the driver, you would every day want life to be exactly the same as you want it. But you know life doesn't go the way you want it. You plan one thing, something else happens, and then you deal with that. So that a wise person, when you give up this doership, you really become humble. But it is so hard for most people to give up. But that is a journey from avidwan to vidwan. Same thing, asakta to the action. The action itself is also, you're not attached to it's my action. People who are wise will always give credit to the team because never is any action solo action. But an unwise person likes to take most credit for themselves. That is a big difference between, and if I'm not attached to the action, what is the outcome? If I'm not attached to the action, I'm actually less judgmental. We are not going to be very judgmental of other people. One of the things, and in the next verse he talks about it more, is a vidwan. You're not going to go to, whether it's, when does this vidwan, when you're more than one person in the room, right? If you're by yourself, you can say I'm vidwan and that's it. But when you're surrounded by, say, you're the group of friends, or you're at work, or with family members, you have a gathering, that's when you will have this experience where you can, or let's take an example, even at work, you will have an experience where you will see the difference. But a vidwan never judges the one who's attached. Vidwan just stays unattached, but is not out there to shake that person and say, come on, you're ignorant. You cannot do that. The ignorant is not doing it Like, you know how Tanuja was saying, evil people. They're no evil people, right? They're just ignorant. Because they're ignorant, their actions are coming from that level of selfishness. Because they're attached, they think I'm doing everything. This action is fine, this results I need. So because of that, the wise person does all that action, but with complete actually no attachment to the action, and then no attachment to the result. If you're not attached to the result, does it mean the difference is, oh, I'm not attached to the result, so then if I become like that, then I won't care? No, because Chikeshu Lok Sangraha, you will care. If you are driven by the fact that you want to do it to bring people on the right path, for the welfare, for Lok Sangraha, oh, you bet you will do the right. You will be very engaged and you will be very driven. It will not be about the result though. The difference is just that. If somebody is a real estate agent, is that real estate agent doing because they want that $10,000? Or is the real estate agent because it comes into play when they're working with that one family. In big scheme of things, they can go to a spiritual retreat and come back and then still get back into that ignorance because they're really not getting to that phase where they can remain asakta. Now, if it is a person, real estate agent, that family, they will try their best to get the best house for that family that will work with that budget, which will work for that family. That real estate agent will look at that family and go, you know what? I know what are they asking for? They're telling me what they're asking for. I'm going to work. In the end, outcome results will come. They will get the same 10,000. But in one, the Vidwan, it is the Lok Sangraha. Not only do they give that family a good home, but in their interaction, they also raise the consciousness of the people they're interacting with. So actually, individually, people will say, oh my God, there are such great people in the world. Maybe I need to do it good. But the same agent, another agent who is a Vidwan, is going to be completely focused is attached to the outcome. And because they're also driven, they're showing 10 homes, but they're showing it with the only purpose of trying to sell whatever they can. Because how can they convince this family to buy one of their homes so that they can make the money? So the journey was stressful, and because they were attached to the result, peace is the last thing they're going to have. And then they're going to say, oh my God, this job is so stressful. You don't know how stressful this is. The stress is coming because they are not focused where they need to be. They're focused on self. Basically, one is selfish act and one is selfless act. Both, in fact, worked zealously. In fact, the one which is Vidwan will always work more because they are not even trying to work more. They're just trying to meet the need of the person in front. They're doing it for Lok Sangraha. So whether it is a doctor, an engineer, a businessman, a shopkeeper, anybody, what is that origination of that thought? Where are they centered? If they're not centered within them, very centered in their Atman, they're anywhere outside their center, they are going to do it only for selfish reasons. And in fact, if you see overall, if you look at the thing, the Vidwan will actually get more name, fame in the end. The Vidwan is still unattached to that also. It just happens. So the way to, one of the lines I was reading about that the acts of creation are not necessary for the perfection of an already perfect God. Creation, therefore, is a hobby of God. He is blissful with or without it. All his children must work with same divine attitude of nonchalant interest. So that I thought was very good way of writing it. It came from my other Gita book. That what if, we have separated our work life from our hobby life. Everybody today talks, what is your hobby? Why? Because hobby you're not attached to the result. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, you don't take it to the heart. You're not attached at all. So this is all fun. Work is work. Why can't your whole life be a hobby? Why does it have to be that separate? So that kind of an attitude where your entire life, in the hobby, you take care of your plants like crazy. But then in work, you don't take care of patients crazily. If you're not completely invested, you are like sort of forcing yourself to invest. But there, it is natural. People go for music class and they are happy. But then why are you not happy, selling your product at work? Because you are trying to sell the product. You're not trying to do lok sangraha. You're not trying to help the person in front of you. You're just trying to manipulate so you can get the money. That is why this is stressful. That is selfless. This is selfish. So that is what Krishna is talking about. That don't try to think, Arjun, that you're going to run away and do. You will do the same action, except instead of a vidwan, just like an avidwan does, attached, which is what Arjun started from. A vidwan does action unattached, but what is the motivation? Chikirshu lok sangraha. So that is another line from my book was, only fools take life so seriously that they are constantly hurt. The wise look upon childhood, youth, old age, life and death as passing dramas. Hence, everything entertains them. And that is why sometimes you see, Sri Ravi Shankar, they're always laughing and you're like, what the, why are you having? Everything is entertainment then. There is no daytime, nighttime. Why are you making job such a serious thing? Because you're attached to it. You are working. Happy Friday. What do you mean happy Friday? Why not all week? Or happy Sunday to happy Monday to happy. Why this separation? Because you've said this is stressful and that is not. But what if the entire life was just a hobby, entire life was just this entertainment? So that's what. Now let's, any other thoughts or? Okay, then let's go to verse number 26.
Okay, 26. A wise person will not disturb the mind of an unwise person who is still attached to the fruits of his or her actions. But by continuously performing perfect, selfless actions, the wise person influences others in all they do. At one point, Sri Krishna says, even though at a certain point the need to perform actions naturally drops away, a realized person should not stop doing things. He gives himself as an example. See, I am Krishna, an incarnation. There is nothing for me to gain in this world. There is nothing I should gain by doing anything, but I work. Why? If I don't, others will say, he is not doing anything, so why should I? Not working must be the sign of realization. Suppose a small child asks his uncle, who is that man with something hanging around his neck? He's a doctor. That's a stethoscope around his neck. Uncle, I want to be a doctor too. Buy me a stethoscope. It's easy to copy. That's why teachers do things that actually there is no need for them to do. Their actions aren't for their own sake, but to set examples for their students. If they stop doing these things, the students will immediately follow their example. That's what Krishna is saying here. And he is also basically answering the question, how should we work if we are not doing it for personal gain, but just for the sake of others? Should they be grateful for what we are doing? Can we do the work any way we want? Krishna says, no, that's not Karma Yoga. Then, even an ordinary greedy person will do things well for his or her own benefit. We should do things just as well, if not better. Don't think that because it's dedicated or Karma Yoga action, it doesn't matter how it's done. In fact, Karma Yoga actions should be done perfectly, even neater and tidier because they are offerings. Suppose that every day you simply make a little pudding and bread for yourself to eat. When you expect 100 guests and you're offering them something, would you still do the same thing? No, you would do something special it's not for yourself. That's the beauty of it. Whatever you do for your sake can be ordinary, but when you do it for the benefit of others, you are doing it for God. That should be a better job, not just equal to what you had been doing in your own home. See how much is to be considered just in this path of action.
Yeah. So this is also very important verse, because one of the things that you find when Vidwan, if you start thinking, I am Vidwan, what do people do? The first thing they will start on spiritual front, they start lecturing everybody around them. I need to, I learned this, oh, you should think like this. So they see people all ignorant around them, and the first thing they want to do is start correcting. So let's talk about this a little bit. Na buddhi bhedam janiyet agyanam karma sanginam. So agyanam is of the ignorant. Na buddhi bhedam. Do not, bhedam means do not confuse or disturb or discord the buddhi, the intellect or the intelligence of the agyan, who is karma sanginam, who is attached to the action. So the do not, janayet means should create. So you should not create, the vidwan should not create the confusion in the intellect of that agyanam who is attached to the action. Joshayet, but instead should engage or should inspire or get them to be, inspired by you and get hence engaged. Sarva karmani, all prescribed actions. Vidwan yukta. Yukta means being unattached again. The vidwan yukta, being unattached. Samacharan, performing actions perfectly or with some samacharan. So the wise basically should not create a discord or should not confuse the mind of the ignorant who is attached to action. Instead, he should, being unattached, he or she should, being unattached, should perform all the prescribed duties perfectly, inspiring others to be fully engaged. So this is the method. So here, Krishna is giving very clear, like, how people like to say, oh, I think we are, let me give them a lecture, right? I am a Democrat. Let me give a lecture to all these Republicans, or I am a Republican and let me give a lecture. What are they doing? They're thinking I'm wise and this other person is unwise. So now I'm wise, so now I have to give a lecture. And so somehow unwise, if they're given a lecture, will somehow become wise. Has it ever happened? Has it ever happened that anybody who thinks they're wise, if they talk, and the reason I give Democrat Republican example, it's easy to understand in these times with that example. There is no Democrat who thinks they are wise, who can create that, in that Republican, who's already decided that they are no, it's not a child you're talking to, you're talking to an adult, who's a overall Republican, no matter what you say, because the Democrat is thinking that person is unwise. So because they're unwise, they are talking to that person and trying to create in their mind a change of thought. And I have yet to see somebody with any kind of such direct discussion to be able to change that mind. Same thing I've seen on Republican side. Republican is thinking, I am wise, my friend is unwise. So now I have to talk to and tell them that, you don't understand. You are watching wrong things. You're listening to the wrong type of news. Let me tell you, does it work? Because now this person is thinking I'm wise and that person is unwise. Never works. What Krishna is saying, same thing happens at your work, same thing happens at home, same thing happens in a social situation. If you sit there and tell because the wise person sits and tells this unwise person, this, it's not going to work. So do not create a situation where you create that confusion. Imagine, imagine that is a level that I'm talking about where one is actually both are unwise, right? If in that situation. But let's talk of a level where you and me are suppose really wise. Suppose we know when we are centered, and I know that my happiness is inside. We read that, right? It's written in every book today, so it's not like a disputed thing, but I mean, it's just words. So if I know that my success, my happiness is inside me, it's not dependent on my children, it's not dependent on my friends, it's not dependent on my work, it's not dependent on the promotion, it's not dependent on the salary, it's not dependent on the looks, it's not dependent on the health, it's not dependent on nothing, it's not dependent on anything. It's not dependent on being fed, it's not dependent on being hungry, it's not dependent on being thirsty, it's not dependent on hot, it's not dependent on cold, it doesn't matter if it's rainy. Suppose at that point, you think it is even fair to talk to somebody who's easily bothered by rain and who's easily, what a sucky day and what a rainy day and what a even weather affects them. Is it even wise of me to tell that person? Because that person is feeling disturbed with a weather which is not in our control. Forget about humans or children. They're disturbed by weather. If they're disturbed by weather, is it any good that I can do by telling them your happiness is within you? You need to go to your happiness. Don't be disturbed by this weather. Will it work? Krishna is saying, don't bother. That is a wrong approach. Don't bother. If you're two friends in a car and you are the one sitting there, completely blissed, centered, not bothered, rain is happening, you're driving. Suppose you are the driver and you are driving and you're like, oh, you have to manage, right? Now it's pouring down and you're managing and you're on a highway and you're driving for 5 hours and all 5 hours it rains. Okay. And now you thought it was not going to rain, but you are centered. So you're managing it. You are actually being careful. You're doing all the right things. Your friend next to you or your spouse next to you or your children next to you are getting all agitated. And they are like, what a kind of weather it is. They're going on and on and on. The traffic is bothering them. The weather is bothering them. Everything is bothering them. In that instant, Krishna is saying, do not bother. This ignorant person mind, don't bother confusing. Don't create more confusion by throwing some words out there. You perform the action samachar. Unattached, you perform that action. You're driving, you perform wonderfully. Inspiring that person with your behavior. You do not inspire anyone by telling them what to do. You do. And along the way, maybe one trip, two trip, it doesn't matter. But they will see, oh my God. I mean, the same weather is there. This person is not affected and I am so affected. Maybe there'll come a point and that driving where that person may turn around and say, does it not bother you? Then you can, no, it doesn't bother me. You have taught that person something. That person, little bit, tiny 0.01%, it caused a perception change. Why does it not bother you? Well, it's not. Weather does not bother me. So what bothers you? No, it doesn't bother me. Nothing bothers me. Why should it bother me? I'm just happy inside. How can you be happy? You started now a discussion. May not even be in that one trip, but I'm telling you, that is what Krishna is talking about. Same thing, you go to work. You think you are with your colleague, and the colleague is very motivated, very diligent in action. But then you start noticing that if you tell them something or somebody else tells them something, they get easily, oh, I'm such a perfectionist. How did I make a mistake? Aha, you know that person is attached. Because we are humans. We are going to be forgetful. We are going to make some mistake. I'm going to be doing some patient note and going to forget something to write. And then later on, like, oh yeah, I was meant to write that. Oh shoot, I forgot to write. It's going to happen to us. When it happens, you will notice that other person who is ignorant, who is completely attached, is so disturbed. I'm always so perfect. I don't know how I ended up doing it. Oh. At that time, don't give them a lecture and say, oh, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. And now they can actually take it further. They can be disturbed for quite a while. They may apologize. Now it's big drama of apology and all that. You just listen to it. Krishna is saying, don't worry. Don't bother disturbing. This is a very good one for all those people who so-called become spiritual on the spiritual path. The first thing, if they are vegetarian, if they turn vegetarian today, oh my God, from tomorrow they'll start giving a lecture to all the non-vegetarians. If they are vegan now, they will even give lecture to the vegetarian. That is how people are, because they're thinking, I am vegan. You eat milk. Do you know how milk is made? Do you know how many cows get affected? There, and then the vegetarian is saying, but instead, if you live your life, just live your life. Krishna is saying, but do it diligently. If you live your life and you are lazy, one other difference you will find, this is where, and he will talk about gunas much later. This is the difference between sattva, rajas, tamas. A rajasic person, no matter how much you attend a spiritual class, if your rajas is too high, you are wanting to correct that other person constantly. You can't get away. Your sattva is not there as much. So you're constantly in the mode of, that person seems hyper. That person seems lazy. I need to correct that person's action. I need to correct. They're doing their right thing, but their rajas is too much. A sattvic person is, your sattva. Rajas and tamas are the errors of the mind. Those are the vikruti of the mind. Sattva is your natural state of mind. So if we develop a sattva, so you can't say, oh, I don't care, the results. So then if a materialistic person, I'll tell you the difference is this also. Think about it. Anybody who's attached, who's a worldly person. So we're talking about a worldly person, let's say, and a divine person, or we're talking about a material person and a the non-material is not a right word. Sometimes when we use material, it means we are not wearing a material, we are not living in a house, everything is a material thing. So in that sense, anybody can come back and say, oh, you are material. At some level, we all are material because we have got a material body. We are made of material, panchamahabhut. There is nothing we are, but we are material. So it's not that I'm talking about. But what I'm saying is ignorant person whose success and whose idea of happiness, success and happiness lies are something outside them, they are bound to either live with rajas or they live with tamas. What happens is either they're going to be super motivated with money, or I have to get that next promotion, I'm going to do this, I want to show everybody how good I am. That drives them. Or if you tell them, oh, all this is useless, it's, success is within you, because they are not evolved yet, they can go tamasic. Okay, nothing I want to do, nothing, I don't care about anything. They will give up. So Krishna is saying, don't do that. You involve every ignorant person around you and make them, inspire them to do their best action. Don't get them out of ignorance. He's not telling you to, don't tell the worldly person you are worldly, you're so materialistic. Don't tell them, don't bother. Involve them in the best possible action, because that is their motivation. You can see it. You involve them in the best possible action. In that growth, they will eventually, their journey has to be their own. You cannot make somebody who is focused on selfish gain into selfless. You will not do it. You are only working on yourself. There's nobody else you're working on. So as I'm working on myself, I will only do my action because I'm detached. Naturally, if I'm detached from action, what do you think is my attitude at action? Samachar. I'm always enthusiastic, I'm always engaged, and I'm always even. Because I'm not saying you're not going to be firm. Sometimes you need to be, especially with ignorant people, there are different modes, ways that you will inspire them. Somebody needs a little acknowledgement. Somebody needs a little pat, somebody needs a pat in the back. Somebody needs a little firmness. Somebody has got more rajasic or tamasic, so they come late to work every day. Well, there you need to show a little firmness and let them know you're going to come to work on time. When we say our meeting is at 8:30, it is at 8:30. So a wise is not going to say to that ignorant person, oh, work all that and do detached. No. You tell that person time. To another person who needs a reward, you don't say, what is in a reward? I don't believe in gifts. I don't believe in birthdays. I don't believe in, Christmas. I don't. No. You're If you are the boss and you have a team, and your team, that girl or boy, that man believes in Christmas, you get them a gift. Because that inspires them to perform the best. You don't go out of the way, but I'm saying you acknowledgement. If you realize you're subordinate, acknowledgement. These days, what is the biggest thing that motivates? How do you motivate your staff? Clap, hey, you did so good. Why you do that? Do you want that? No, you don't need that. Then you should say, oh, everybody should not need it. But you know, this verse says you do not discord, you do not create this scene. Oh, I'm so unattached. Everybody should be unattached. What is there in the gift? What is the point? I don't believe in anything. If I start saying that, which is what exactly my truth is, it will become very difficult because other people are. So if you want, Krishna says, that circle to do not disturb them, but with your action, you inspire them. You perform your action with samacharan, completely yukta, all actions. And that's how this is the way you inspire your children. This is the way you inspire. You don't inspire your children by scolding them and then expect them to not be rude to you. Scolding is nothing but being rude to your child. What is scolding? You're not being, either you are talking lovingly or you're scolding. So you're loving or you're rude. Just because you're a parent, you call it scolding. And when they say something, you call it rude. Tone has changed, right? That is what is a rudeness, right? Clean your room. That is rudeness. You are giving some. Would you say that at work in that tone? You wouldn't. You'd say, please make sure you are on time next time. If you are a little balanced, you won't say, be on time next time. But your children, that's how you talk to them. Then when they talk back rude, you say, they're so disrespectful and rude. Well, that is exactly what we are talking. That no, Krishna is saying, you do your action and then you inspire others. So only a soft-spoken father or mother will have soft-spoken children, but not soft-spoken to the rest of the world, but scolding their children, but soft-spoken to the child will have a soft-spoken and respectful child. You can't have one-way street. And that is true for what. So this is what Krishna is talking about, that you remain Arjuna as you get enlightened, just from the perspective of Vidwan, your job is not to create any discord in the buddhi of the unenlightened, of the agyan person. Let them do their action with attachment. Don't even tell them, you are so attached to your doership. You are so attached to your action. You're so attached to the results. Don't be attached. You can't see them. If they say, I am extremely competitive, you say, good job. Do that. Let's rock it. You do that. Make a big board. Let's do what you do. You are inspiring, but you're not engaged in such a way that now you are like, no. You are centered, but you create what works. It's an art. Because if you think about any of your spiritual leaders or anybody who's ever led anybody, Martin Luther King led so many people. You think everybody was Martin Luther King in their mind? No, Martin Luther King knew how to inspire. Not by doing anything, but being extremely. Same thing, whether it was Mahatma Gandhi, who had so many people following, whether it was any of even current, whether it's any of the leaders, those who inspire, they inspire through so the Vidwan will inspire through their action and the others will, so you don't do any. So this is a good communication skill that I think, and if you are not there, and if you go to work tomorrow and you start correcting people, then you are a Vidwan still. Just work on yourself. That is the point.
So, Ansaji, if I will inspire someone, okay, to do or to attend birthday parties, which are just short-term pleasure, short-term happiness, right? Will that come as my sattvic, or it is rajasic or tamasic?
No, so that is, depends. So if if you are inspiring party, first of all, that means you are, it can be if you are having alcohol and everything in the party, then that's tamasic, not definitely tamasic. If you are in a party, but this is where there is too much rajas going on, where people
No,
are.
but he or she will say, "Oh, what is the wrong with that? Okay, I am having alcohol. I am not harming
Yeah.
anyone."
So exactly. So you don't sit there. If suppose anybody tells me, I say, okay, do it. If you're having fun, that's what Krishna is saying. Na buddhi bhedam janayet. Do not try to create any disturbance. Don't disagree. Ignorant, don't pour. You just say, yeah, sure, have fun. You don't drink? No. How do you, how do you go through a day without, or how do you have so many questions you will get. You say, I'm fine, I'm high on life. What's the big deal? I'm happy. You don't drink,
No,
I'm
but
not judging you.
no, but Krishna killed Duryodhan, right? At the end of the day, like he was harming more than like a community, right, or the society. So that's why he thought, okay, if I will keep giving a direction or suggestion or advice, this guy is not going to change. So at the end, they punished it, right? I mean, he punished it.
Yeah, so let's actually stay away from the story. Because the story of Mahabharata is irrelevant to you today. It does not matter if Mahabharata even took place or it is just inside your head. Right now, what you're having is a Mahabharata in your head. Should I do this way or should I do that way? That is the Mahabharata. Duryodhan is inside you and Arjun is inside you and Krishna is also inside you.
Right.
And now your Duryodhan says, okay, I want to do, who does not have a Duryodhan? Everybody has a Duryodhan within them.
Right. The inner God, inner demon is everywhere.
Everywhere. And the Krishna is in you. Now your demon, yes, of course, you are going to kill your demon. So in that regard, you will kill your demon. So your Atman, of course, Krishna, your Atman will ultimately, if it rises, will ultimately your goodness will. So it will be that you will integrate. Basically, you're integrating, right? Arjun, the disciple, is integrating with Krishna, realizing that oneness, and the shadow, which is your Duryodhan, is. But does not matter. The actual story is so irrelevant that in terms of how do I practice, how do I bring it to my current life, one can sit and discuss. How can you say 100 Kauravas were born from one mother? Come on, think about it. A woman's lifespan is not that big that you can have 100 children. So whether it was true or not, I'm not going to even bother because it is irrelevant. I live in this time. Who knows what happened? I have to get up tomorrow and go to work. Can I apply Gita, application of Gita to my life today, tomorrow at work, or at home, all day long? If I cannot apply, then the book is useless. Whether Krishna in reality killed Duryodhan or didn't kill Duryodhan, who cares? Whether Krishna was nice or how do I care? He's not there today. So I don't care. There were Rath and chariots and everything. Why do I care? If there were chariots or no chariot, I'm in a car now. I don't care. So the irrelevant part, just it can be story discussion. People can have, but that's not what will serve you today. What will serve you today is wherever you are today, whatever you have, that wisdom within you, which may not have reached, we are evolving, right? So whatever be your level of wisdom today, there is somebody who will, when you look around at work, will be somebody who is seems little less wise to you, seems little less wise to you. When that person comes in, Krishna says, do not bother trying to create confusion in their mind. You do your action, and that becomes the method of inspiration. You just do with the Chikirshu Lok Sangraha, the last verse, with the desiring the ultimate awareness, bringing the people on the right path, for the welfare of you do your action. Your life is only concerned about you. You are born, and every day you have to live with happiness or some slight unhappiness within you, or slight void within you, or some slight disturbance. You have to live with you. In that process, Krishna is talking about this, because letting go of that is the hardest. People cannot let go of this other people, what they are doing. If somebody is drinking alcohol, let them drink. What is your problem? You are not, if you are looking at them and judging them right away, your rajas is working already. That is what you are working on.
No, I got it. But
And
if he or she harming larger community, then is it right way to tell him, or like that's what the question is all about?
no, the question is, yeah, if somebody is, of course, if you're not standing up against it, actual, so somebody is, say, a woman, somebody is, or some girl is walking on the street, another man is coming doing some sort of eve teasing going on, and you are just
Right.
walking away. Now that is where you need to use your wisdom and engage. Now, if the person has got a knife or a gun, well, there will be different way you will engage. But if you just walk away, that that is not wise. But if you, that is where you need to stop what you say. If there is a party going on and two people start arguing about something useless and it is going in a wrong direction, of course you will intervene. But if they want to drink, well, the best thing for you to do will be to leave the party. I mean, there is no point being around such. What I have you to gain? I don't see any gain by staying around tamas. But if you want to stay, that's your choice, and you probably then are. That's fine. It's again your choice. Wherever you are, then don't sit there. Even if you sit there, don't judge yourself for sitting there. Don't judge them for drinking. But basically, Gita is, how do I bring that myself to a level where I am happy, where even not even chasing happiness, you are just neutral. I'm not looking for some exotic happiness. It is just the state of samta. How can you achieve that state of samta? Whether you are at a party, whether you are at home, whether you are at work, whether you are anywhere. Samata, how do you achieve that? 24/7. Nobody can see it. Only you know it, whether you are or not. Because people can fake anything, but they're faking it. People can say, hi, how are you? And it's chaos in the mind. Oh, your dress looks so nice. And they're thinking, oh, I can't stand her. That is that Mahabharat going on constantly. Can you just either say, yes, your dress is so nice and it is nice, and knowing fully well that the person is ignorant? Don't bother. At least something is nice. Appreciate that and let it go. But doing it honestly, complete 100% honesty. If you do that, then you have yourself worked on yourself. But in Karma Yoga, the reason Karma Yoga becomes hard is because in Karma Yoga, you are engaged in actions. You're engaged with the world. And world is going to have people with different levels of evolution, and very few people who are going to be completely in touch with what is real. Like, okay, everything is an entertainment movie going on. When you see a movie and you see all these scenes, the drama, and there's this KK character in the movie, and there is this, you don't get disturbed. It's a movie. You can detach yourself from it. Now that is the art that Krishna is saying. You just stay detached. You're not attached. You are good. Nothing is that. But how can that? You can't fake it. You can only get to that when you understand who you are. And that is what it's all about, right? If you are the body, you're going to have some sort of judgment against people who are heavy, or the people who seem old, or who seem different from you, who are black, who are Jewish, who is this, who is Muslim. Because you're looking at surface. If you're attached to your senses, then you are going to judge people by that, who's, whether they're talking sweetly or talking this, even, oh, she's got a sweet voice, so she must be nice. This person is more, or even for sensual pleasure, people are also the one who have to smile for each picture, pose for each picture, because that is all attachment to the body. So that is fine. I'm saying you just know those things, but you don't have to be disturbed by it. And then if you reach that state, you can be among the people. That's how all these people, if you look at this, I always tend to, but there's so many of them, whether it's, Ravi Shankar or Sadhguru or any of them, and so many of them. I just take their names because they, here and there, or even so many that I listen to. Some of them, they seem Sarva Priyanand, they all seem so, like, if you look at the people around them, not everybody is awakened souls. They're just like fans. Oh, my Guru, let me come. Can you stay with me? Can I touch your feet? Can I do this? That's not what the Guru even cares for. They're looking to awaken you. But while they're unawakened, does the Guru say, oh, come on, stop touching my feet, stop putting the mala, stop running after me, my car? I went to the silent retreat in North Carolina for Sri Ravi Shankar's retreat. People were running after his car. I'm like, that's not the point of this retreat. You're losing the point of retreat if you're the fan of the person. This is about your inner journey. Can you become divine within? Can you find that space within? Have you? That's what you've come here to experience. In your silent retreat, if you're running after the car, you've lost it, or you have to, so that fan following. But that person is centered. So that person is okay with all this. They're not sitting there judging all these people. Like, okay. And if you're meant to awaken, you will awaken in 5 years or never, or 2 years or one day. Who knows? You just be, but he's not changing. He's like, oh, this person seems like this. Oh, this person is so ignorant. Oh, this person seems running after me. Oh, this person. Nothing is going on in the mind. That is the sattva.
So to be centered also will categorize in the rajas, right?
Yeah, centered person depends, right? I would say there is definitely, the world is more full of rajas people. Rajas people are, the difference between rajas and sometimes, rajas is very active in the world, but they are, the origination is very different. So they're active in the world, they're doing all that, but yeah, a centered person can be completely sattva. A centered person, when we are saying someone who's within them. Anytime you're not within you, but usually you will find at work you have to have a certain amount of rajas for action to happen. But the action has to be done with sattva intention. So what is the intention behind that action? And all of us will, have that, if you have an understanding, you will oscillate, but you will know when your rajas is active and when you're getting out of balance. Because, world is full of ignorant people, but I think once you find that center, you will never lose it. It really is very hard. How can you lose once you found something? You can't lose it. You just live with it. It just becomes, you can be, sometimes things can get, a lot of work is happening, but you really don't lose it. You just, it's world is an stage of, entertainment, really. So you enjoy the drama of life, basically. Nothing more. This is also drama. That is also drama. That is different kind of drama. World, everything is a drama. Enjoy this, enjoy that, next thing, enjoy the next thing. Whatever you're doing, enjoy it. Enjoy your spiritual retreat also, but enjoy that party also. Now you may choose, the more you're sattva, chances are you will choose, if that is creating disturbance, you will choose not to go to that alcohol-filled party, for the most part. Because you will, but as long as you're feeling the desire to go, be truthful to that. Go. Don't act like, oh, I'm so centered, I'm not coming to the party. You guys do that. No, don't do that. If you don't even drink, but you like going to the party, be truthful. One thing in life to know is first thing, know yourself. In that, you need to know who you are. Most of us, the Mahabharata is happening. We want one thing, but we have been told what we should want. We want to go to the party, But we have been told, that, oh, Gita says I shouldn't go to that party. No, don't do that. Go there if that's what you want to do. If at some point you reach, oh, I don't feel like going, then don't go. Don't become vegetarian for any other reason, but because you want to be vegetarian, not for, ethical reasons so you can show off people. Same, anything. Don't do anything unless you find. So alignment is really centering that cannot come if you want one thing, but you are doing what you should do. It will never come. So that is what creates, this is the forced, you should be celibate. What has happened? Child sexual abuse. This is where it comes from, because they're not aligned. So if you want to be celibate, you be celibate. But if you don't want to be celibate, don't be celibate. But because these religions have created this area, it is so bad. So then they all force themselves. Well, then it comes out in wrong ways. Because human beings cannot fool themselves. They can fool the world, but man, you will never be able to fool yourself. And it comes out in wrong ways then. So that is, Gita doesn't talk about being untruthful to yourself. So, okay, I think we need to bring to a close because I need to get to I have a couple of patients to call also. So I need to get going. Can we do quickly? I know you guys are even, do you want to, maybe we can bring it to a close without Anulom Vilom. Do you guys do Anulom Vilom, or you want to do it, or you don't want to do it? We can just bring it to a close without, because so with that in mind, let's bring it to a close. We are going to end today, and we will be letting you know. I might be changing the timing because Thursday, my work has gotten busy. So Thursday is not seeming like the most perfect time for me anymore. So I have to be truthful to myself that there are things that I have to put on hold till 9 o'clock, and it's not so good to call patients this late. So I will move it to, I'm talking to Bharat FM, and we will move it probably to Saturday, 6 to 8 p.m. And then you can go to the party. So with that, let's do namaste and bring today to a close. Thank you everyone for joining today. And we will meet again next week. I will keep you posted, not next Thursday. We will not be meeting on next Thursday, but probably next Saturday, but I'll confirm that. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Nishiji.
Thank you, Vinayji.
This is Bharat FM.
बजेगा भारत झूमेगा भारत.